Ultraman Decker New Generation Dyna came out about 2 weeks ago, and I wrote this video about 5 weeks ago. But I figured it'd be cool to watch the first episode of Dyna while it's still relevant, just to see if we can notice any sort of like things that are cool or whatever. I'll make a video on Geats when like we get more information, okay? It's too soon. I can't make a whole video off one suit, all right? Immediately from the intro, we can see where Decker gets a lot of its design elements from. Don't ask me why I never Googled a picture of Ultraman Dyna before this, okay? I figured Sentai 5 would have uploaded something to Twitter by now. I don't know. Bro, we're on fucking Mars. That, like, spoilers, I guess, but it seems like Dyna spends a lot more time on Mars compared to Decker at this point, and I love that. Like, why is this never done in Tokusatsu? Why are we always on Earth? Fuck the Earth, man. Why we always gotta wait for the aliens to come to us? Bro, we're coming to them in this series, and that's kind of tight. I want to take part in a good old-fashioned alien genocide. I want us to be the ones colonizing their lands and subjecting them to one-sided treaties and discriminatory government policies, and then shaming them for like not assimilating into our culture properly. It seems like a lot of fun. This is one of them new age Ultraman comeback seasons, so best be prepared for a ton of CGI shots like this. We're then shown two trainees fighting a la schoolyard style out front with a bunch of people circling around them, and I'm just gonna assume I should be rooting for this one, mostly because he kind of looks like a Toku protagonist. The other dude looks way too healthy to be headlining a show like this. Our main character wins by shoving a finger up his ass.
Lock on! Huh?
And like jokes aside, I actually do kind of fuck with this guy. He seems like a silly, goofy kid. Big fan. He's the son of this legendary pilot who's known for flying into the light, which means he's absolutely going to have to kill his dad at some point. Yo, tell me, why do these planes look better than Kiji Brother? Remember that Dom Brothers joke I promised you in the last video? It's for you. Anyways, their training session is interrupted by literal nut, and of course it's up to our main character to save everyone. And that seems to be the same nut from Decker, which means it's trans-universal, which is kind of cool. Our lead is forced to eject from his ship, and while floating in space, he encounters this light that presumably saves his life.
ここどこだ?
ここは TPC 本部の病室。高田隊も驚いてたわ。よくあの状況から生還できたって。奇跡だって。
奇跡。ところでさ、君可愛いね。
My man is astonishingly horny. I haven't mentioned it until now, but like 75% of his lines have just been about him trying to pull. Homeslice starts having fever dreams about space. Also, Guts is a subsect of TPC, and that's actually really cool. I know a lot of you guys already know this, but TPC is like the governing organization in like Tiga, so it's kind of cool to see that stuff kind of carry over, because Ultraman kind of has this one joined continuity. Or as some of you guys explained to me in the last video, it's subsected in terms like Dyna and Tiga are in the same continuity. That's all we need to know for this, but a lot of the times Ultras will share a universe, and they make it very apparent, and it's cool. I also really do like this one line where one of the characters sort of asks him what his generic sort of Toku catchphrase is.
豊富だよ。よくあるだろう。それなら、俺は自信過剰な割に大したことない男です。でも俺は前だけを見ている。どんな時だって諦めないし、絶対に逃げもしない。以上。
It kind of feels like a shot at how Kamen Riders are always talking about protecting smiles and whatnot. It's kind of cool. A kaiju attacks the Mars base. Love that we're on the Mars base. And I really do love these miniatures here. I keep mentioning it, but Tsuburai's the best at this. And I'm really glad that they're not abandoning that, because I would assume this would be the era where they would experiment more with like CGI and stuff like that. So it's still awesome to see. Not to mention the Mars miniatures actually look like what you'd expect a sort of Mars colony to look like. It's really cool. And that comment would also make a ton more sense if you watched the Decker video, which you can still do. It's not too late. You can finish this video, in fact, and then go watch the Decker video. No one's stopping you. You don't have to leave, but you can watch it in a minute or two. It's all right. After some trials and tribulations that I really don't feel like explaining to you, the light shows up again, and our main hero finally transforms into Ultraman Dyna. And he doesn't even have to fight the kaiju. It's kind of tight. This light that's radiating from him is enough to sort of obliterate the monster, but it does reform itself, and this leads into a cliffhanger that goes into episode 2. Which we're actually going to watch right now. Crazy, right? We never do that. But I just have so much going on in my life right now that if I were to stop doing this, I would be forced to confront the fact that I'm spiraling. Crazy, right? Episode 2 opens with the same type of fight that you would expect to be forced into the first episode of a show like this. And of course, it's really well done. They have an emergency meeting about the flying nut over at TCP. That's a solid name for them. I absolutely love that. We're just labeling shit now at this point. That's a pencil, this is a thermostat, and also this is what my life looks like now that I have a college degree. I'm fine. Everyone's watching Dyna fight as well. And Asuka, the main character, I really should have mentioned his name by now, but you get it. He's starting to have doubts because everyone's talking about how Ultraman are meant to be these beacons of light that humanity is meant to follow. And after getting reprimanded for acting spontaneously during the last fight with the kaiju, he ends up going on one of those late night depression walks. You know the ones I'm talking about. Dude, no, seriously, like, I promise, I'm fine. This is a really cool path for him to go down. You never really see Toku protagonists deal with imposter syndrome like this outside of maybe like Gaim. And I really like how it's heightened here even further due to the comparisons being drawn between Dyna and Tiga from like other characters when they were talking about it before. It's super neat to see our main character sort of question himself and really take on this responsibility, especially considering how just literally last episode, he seemed to not have a single care in the world about anything besides like, you know, pulling bitches. But in all seriousness, he's now thrusted into this situation where he's meant to take things more seriously. There's another fight in space, and there's a kaiju that shows up on Earth, and there's this really cool scene where they call in reinforcements from other members of Guts, and it really makes the organization feel so much bigger than just the few main characters that were meant to like follow around. It really feels like a whole like team. It's cool. Of course, Dyna shows up and kills everything, and episode 2 ends with Asuka reflecting on his father telling him how meaningless life sort of is, and how that meaninglessness makes it all the more important for you to find meaning as an individual. And that does a really good job sort of setting up where they want his character to go later on in the series, and kind of like what they're trying to leave you with, I guess. But overall, I really liked these episodes. Dyna really speaks to me right now, and I really mean that in the least pretentious way I possibly can. I've been going through a lot of life changes right now with like graduating college and like moving out of my mother's house, and I sort of feel a lot of stress to like, I guess, grow up, so to speak. And so it's really cool to see a character in one of these shows sort of dealing with that same sort of stuff. With that in mind, let me know if you actually want to have another episode where we watch another few episodes of Dyna together. Let's say like 150 likes, and we'll watch another 2 episodes for another video. In fact, comment below what episodes you would want to watch, because I know Ultraman kind of tends to be a little more episodic, or at least the series I've seen typically are a little more episodic, so I feel as though we can sort of bounce around in terms of like order and stuff. Hopefully I'll see you in the next video. It'll probably be about Geats. I imagine we're going to have more information on the new Kamen Rider soon, so probably will be about that. I was also thinking about making another, not the Power Rangers, but I feel like the hype for that series is kind of dead. I don't know. Let me know what you think. I'll talk to you in the next video. All right. Bye-bye.